The Vikings have long been portrayed as towering warriors, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. From popular media to historical reenactments, Vikings are often depicted as larger-than-life figures with immense physical strength. But how tall were they really? Were the Norsemen of the Viking Age significantly taller than other European populations of their time? In this deep dive, we will explore archaeological evidence, written accounts, and scientific studies to uncover the truth about Viking height. Chapter 1. The Viking Age and its people. To understand Viking height, we first need to set the stage. The Viking Age spanned from roughly 793 AD to 1066 AD and saw the Norse people exploring, trading, raiding, and settling across vast regions of Europe and beyond. These seafaring warriors came from what is now Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. The climate, diet, and genetic makeup of the Viking population played significant roles in determining their average height. Archaeological evidence of Viking height. One of the most reliable ways to estimate Viking height is through skeletal remains. Archaeologists have uncovered numerous Viking grave sites across Scandinavia, the British Isles, and other parts of Europe where they settled. Studies of Viking skeletons suggest that the average height of a Viking male was around 5 feet 7 inches, 170 centimeters, while Viking women averaged about 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters. Compared to modern heights, this may seem short, but in the context of medieval Europe, Vikings were relatively tall. Analysis of bones also reveals their robust build, likely a result of their physically demanding lifestyle. Comparison with other medieval populations. When comparing Viking height to that of other contemporary European populations, it becomes clear that they were generally of similar or slightly greater stature. Studies indicate that during the early medieval period, the average height of men in England and other parts of Europe was around 5 feet 6 inches, 167 centimeters. This suggests that Vikings were either on par or marginally taller than their European counterparts. One reason for this height advantage could be their diet, which included a higher intake of protein-rich foods such as fish, meat, and dairy, compared to other populations that relied more heavily on grains. Chapter 4. Factors influencing Viking height. Height is influenced by a combination of genetics, nutrition, and environment. The Vikings had access to a diet that provided essential nutrients necessary for growth, including meat from livestock and hunting, fish from their coastal and riverine environments, dairy products from cows, goats, and sheep, vegetables and grains grown in their settlements. Additionally, Viking society placed a strong emphasis on physical activity, whether through farming, shipbuilding, or warfare. This active lifestyle contributed to their muscular builds and overall physical resilience. Myth versus reality. Why are Vikings portrayed as giants? Modern depictions of Vikings often exaggerate their height, making them appear as towering warriors. This misconception can be traced back to several sources. Medieval chroniclers, particularly those from cultures that faced Viking raids, may have described them as larger-than-life figures to emphasize their fearsome reputation. The discovery of exceptionally tall Viking skeletons, though rare, has fueled the belief that all Vikings were exceptionally tall. Pop culture representations in movies, television, and video games have reinforced the idea of Vikings as giant, superhuman warriors. In reality, while some individuals among the Vikings were undoubtedly tall, the majority were within the average height range for their time. Chapter 6. The decline of Viking height over time. Interestingly, studies of skeletal remains from later medieval Scandinavia suggest that the average height of people in the region declined after the Viking Age. This could be attributed to several factors. Changes in diet due to increased reliance on agriculture and reduced protein consumption. Socioeconomic disruptions, including wars, plagues, and famines. Population growth leading to resource scarcity. This decline in height continued into the medieval period, with some populations becoming shorter than their Viking ancestors. Viking genetics and modern Scandinavian height. Modern Scandinavians are among the tallest people in the world, with an average height of around 5 feet 11 inches, 180 centimeters, for men and 5 feet 6 inches, 167 centimeters, for women. This has led some to wonder if Vikings were similarly tall. While genetics play a role in determining height, the increase in modern Scandinavian height is primarily due to improved nutrition, healthcare, and living conditions over the past few centuries. Although some Viking DNA persists in modern Scandinavian populations, environmental factors have contributed more significantly to the observed increase in height over time. Notable Viking skeletons and their heights throughout history. Several Viking skeletons have been discovered that stand out due to their height. Some of the tallest Viking remains have measured over 6 feet, 183 centimeters, though these were exceptions rather than the norm. One famous Viking skeleton found in Denmark belonged to a warrior who stood approximately 6 feet 2 inches, 188 centimeters, tall. Such findings, though rare, reinforce the idea that while most Vikings were of average height, a few individuals were significantly taller. How Viking height influenced their combat and society. Did Viking height give them an advantage in battle? While height can be beneficial in combat, Viking warriors relied more on their skill, strategy, and teamwork. The effectiveness of their weapons, shields, and tactics played a more crucial role in their military successes than mere physical stature. Beyond warfare, Viking height and strength also played a role in their daily lives, from shipbuilding to farming. Their robust physique allowed them to endure the harsh Scandinavian environment and engage in demanding physical labor. The reality of Viking height. So, how tall were the Vikings? The truth is that they were moderately tall for their time, averaging around 5 feet 7 inches, 170 centimeters, for men and 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters, for women. While taller than some medieval populations, they were not the towering giants that modern media often portrays them to be. Their height was influenced by genetics, diet, and lifestyle, and while some exceptional individuals stood well over 6 feet, the majority of Vikings were within the normal range for medieval Europeans. The legend of the Viking giants may persist, but historical evidence paints a more accurate picture of these seafaring warriors as robust, strong, and slightly above average in height for their era. The legacy of Viking stature. Although Viking height may not have been as dramatic as some believe, their legacy as fierce warriors, explorers, and traders remains undeniable. Whether average in height or exceptionally tall, the impact of the Vikings on history is immense, shaping the course of European and world history in ways that still resonate today. So next time you picture a Viking, remember that their true strength lay not in their height, but in their skill, resilience, and ambition to conquer the unknown.